Marginalization and disenfranchisement predates the formation of the United States. For most of American history, women and African Americans were cut out of the democratic process entirely. Naturally, that led to an economy that favored wealthy white men. While women and minority rights have gradually progressed, it's hard to win a race you were only allowed to enter hundreds of years
Once the women
late.
are hired, the employers provide the job training and pay for it.
Union membership and the policies of the New Deal helped stabilize wage growth for much of the mid-20th century, but it all fell apart by the end of the 1970s. Princeton economist Paul Krugman calls the period that began in 1979 the Great Divergence.
The Great Depression left millions of able and willing Americans bewildered and jobless.
That's when productivity and wages began to divide at a staggering rate. As the United States became a post-industrial economy, automation and outsourcing made fewer low-skilled jobs available for working-class Americans. While other post-industrial countries experienced a similar crisis, American lawmakers neglected to enact policies that would prevent the divergence from growing out of control. And the results speak for themselves. In the wake of the civil rights movement, conservatives felt threatened by the expansion of minority rights and pursued a strategy to pit lower-class whites against lower-class minorities.
It is in violation to my civil rights.
This resulted in Republican Party's center of power shifting to southern states. These movement conservatives took control of the government in 1981, and over the next 12 years, they enacted policies that resulted in the rich getting richer and the poor staying poor. Republicans assaulted unions, slashed taxes for the wealthy, for corporations, and did everything they could to prevent the expansion of the social safety net. All the while, they maintained their base of Southern whites with tactics we still see used today.
When Mexico sends its people, they're bringing drugs, they're bringing crime, they're rapists.
From the war on drugs to the branding of poor black women as welfare queens, Republicans scapegoated minorities for their financial plight.
I am today proposing a massive legislative program aimed at stepping up the battle on these two fronts.
Meanwhile, Reagan-era conservatives' theory of trickle-down economics advocated the idea that by giving tax cuts to the wealthy and the corporations they owned, the benefits would cascade down to the rest of us. The added capital from these tax cuts, tax credit, and subsidies were intended to create an opportunity for companies to expand their operations and properly compensate their employees. In other words, the money at the top would trickle down. But predictably, the only true beneficiaries of these tax cuts were those that needed it the least. So where was all this extra money going? To answer that, we'll need to talk about stock buybacks.